This is the MG Hector, and this is the Plus version of the same car. Now what do you get for this extra plus? Well, for starters, you've got this new paint, and then you've got new DRLs, you've got the same grille minus the chrome highlights. Again, the chrome highlights from the headlamp are missing, and the headlamp itself actually is all new. The bumper is new too. And at the rear, you get an all new bumper too. And it's got these two for exhaust outlets. The exhaust actually is under this one, not even through this. And you'll find that the light strip here is missing. Inside there are some tan highlights and of course a new seating layout. There's an additional third row now that can seat two, and the second row now can also seat two, courtesy the new captain seats. And it also costs rupees 60,000 more. So does it make sense to buy the Hector Plus for what it is, as is? Well, here are 5 things that we feel make the Hector Plus a worthy buy, and 2 why you might want to avoid one. When we first drove the Hector almost a year back, we were really impressed with its interiors. And even today, the Hector Plus, essentially the same interiors, but they seem impressive even today. Now the difference between the Hector and the Hector Plus on the inside is the insert, the tan colored insert on the dashboard, but otherwise they're essentially the same. So you still get this expensive looking brushed metal finish at various touch points. You've got toggles and buttons that operate with a sense of positivity, so you enjoy operating those buttons. The fit and finish everywhere in the cabin is spot on. You'd be hard pressed to pick a point or a place where things look odd or seem wide or unfinished in that sense. And of course, the center screen, it still wows us, right? Now the thing was with the Hector, when we first drove it, and one of the highlights of the Hector was the roominess of the cabin and the sense of space that it delivered. That continues here as well. I mean, it's a really wide cabin on the Hector Plus as well. Now if we were to nitpick, we'd say that at this price point, maybe the dash top could get soft grain plastic, and these stalks, they need to look and feel better. But the thing is that the moment you step inside the Hector Plus, you already start thinking, maybe I should buy this one. And that in itself is a huge positive. You get into the consideration set, and then that's, like they say, half the battle. There's no question, when it came to features, the Hector was always very well equipped. The good news is that approach hasn't changed with the Hector Plus either. So in the sharp trim, you get a multifunction steering wheel that also adjusts for reach and rake. The driver's seat is electrically adjustable. There's a full color TFT screen for the driver information system, or DIS, with loads of info to scroll through. The RVMs both adjust and close electrically, and of course there's the same fancy, nice looking multimedia screen occupying pride of place on the dashboard. And through the screen, one can use navigation, operate the single zone climate control system, listen to music apps, and access bits like Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Even on the safety front, there's tire monitoring system, 6 airbags, ESP, and hill hold as well. Now apart from this screen, everything else that we just spoke about is something that you already get in this class of cars. But what really drew us to the Hector Plus are the feel-good features. So it's got a power tailgate that you can operate with gesture control. You've got a system that responds to your voice commands, and you've got an app which allows you to do so much, from geofencing the car to seeing what sort of driving score you get, and if you happen to lend the car to your colleague or your friends or your family members, you can clearly see how they've been driving and give them a scolding if they've been overspeeding almost all the time. Now the voice command allows you to do many things, including opening the sunroof, but we won't do that because it's raining, but I'll show you how it works in any case with the window. So, hello MG.
Hi, how can I help?
Can you open the driver's side window?
Okay, window on drive side is open.
Right, we don't want to leave it open for long. But the thing is that for every command, you don't need to go and say hello MG. You could just say play music. This is a 6-seater, which is what the Hector Plus's USP is. And just like the seats at the front, which are large, comfy, cushy and supportive, the second row, which includes 2 captain seats, are almost the same. So you can spend long hours in these seats, be it peak hour commute, be it doing long distance intercity travel, they work. Plus they adjust, so you can adjust them for fore and aft movement. You can also adjust the backrest, so you can lie down and look through this wide panoramic sunroof. Not today though, because we've just got water droplets thanks to the rain. And you also get these armrests. Both seats get individual armrests which you can use. So very comfortable seating, great place to be in. You also have a third row. Let's just jump in and see what it's like. Okay, so the third row is super cramped. So if I were there, I would not put anybody here, no humans here, but push comes to shove, you can have people here, but they're not going to like you after that. What this seat can be used for is for a dog, because as I've owned the dog and I know, they prefer bench seat with a backrest so they can rest on instead of a flat boot floor. So this is a great place for them. So if you've got a family of 4, reasonably 4, 2 adults, reasonably large kids and a dog, get the Hector Plus. This works. But the seats are only part of the story. The Hector Plus, much like the regular Hector, is softly sprung and damped. So at slow speeds and over mildly broken or flat surfaces, the ride remains pliant and absorbent. It's also quiet and devoid of any vibrations. Now, there's a difference in the way the petrol version rides compared to the diesel. The diesel remains calm and flat and pliant throughout. The petrol, however, does get caught out by sharpish bumps a lot sooner. The ride is also noisier as a result. Now, the good thing about SUVs is that you sit high, so you have a great view of what's in front automatically. Now, in case of the Hector Plus, you also have very clear defined edges to the bonnet, so it's very easy to place the car. Then you've got these A-pillars which are relatively narrow. They offer a good view to the side as well. Sometimes these large rear view mirrors do get in the way, but you can get used to it and overcome that. But the mirror themselves, they offer a large clear view of what's happening behind you, so that's a big plus again. The other thing about the Hector is that it's got a number of glass pieces, right? You've got the driver, then you've got the second row, and then you've got a quarter glass at the back. So when you're coming onto a road where you're joining a main road, it's very easy to just look back and see what all is there. So it just makes it easier, makes it safer. Like I said, big plus for the Hector, visibility. Now, ease of driving also means that the car feels light to control. Light controls means the steering's light, the clutch is light, the gear shifts are light. And in that regard, the Hector Plus, especially this diesel, the steering is certainly light, but the clutch on the diesel is heavy, the gear shifts are a little springy, but you have the option of buying the petrol automatic. We have that in the long term, and I can tell you that it's super convenient, super easy to drive around that car, live with that particular version. And if you are looking for ease of driving, I think that would be the one to go for. And overall, I think the Hector Plus just makes it, is a very easy car to drive, and that's like I said, plus for the Hector Plus. Now, as for this diesel, it has its pluses as well. You've got lots of torque, so if you drive around 2000 RPM, you can drive from here to Timbuktu without a problem, and en route you can make some quick overtakes without really having to struggle with the gear shifter. It's only in the city in stop and go traffic that you'll feel that heavy clutch is a problem, but otherwise the diesel engine has lots of pull, lots of torque, good mid-range, and it's efficient, way more efficient than the petrol. Now, in our city run, it returned almost 13 kmpl, which for a car which is over 1.7 tons is great fuel efficiency. So that's the positive of a diesel engine. And it might get a little noisy when you rev it, but if if you're driving at about 2000, I think you can live with it. There's a little bit of hum, but more or less it works. Add to it the light steering, the 360-degree camera, the easy ingress and egress. A boot loading lip height that's not too high, and you have a car that's not just easy to drive around in city traffic, but it's also not too big a challenge to park or load up. So now another positive for the Hector Plus, and it was the positive for the Hector also when it was launched, is the maintenance and the 5-year shield or MG shield that the car comes with. So what it does is that you've got 5-year roadside assistance, you've got 5 free services, you've got 5-year unlimited kilometer warranty with the car. But also part of the package, if you choose to buy, you've got from Classic to Elite. Classic is 8,000, Elite is 30,000. We'd pick the 30,000 one because it takes care of everything. So including your batteries and a new set of tires as part of the 5-year maintenance program. So no labor charges, no parts, nothing. So you're completely at rest. You're not worried about whether the car is reliable or not. You're not worried about whether the parts will be, expensive or cheap, or reliability or availability, none of that. So it's all taken care of. Very, very good peace of mind, especially for a new brand. Now MG is only 1 year old, but we've got more established brands. So this just gives you the confidence to say, okay, I can buy a brand new brand because my back is covered. And if you choose to sell the car after 3 years, MG says they'll give you 60% of the car's value at that time. Now the Hector is not really a driver's car. We told you that it has a light steering, and it is light, but it doesn't have a lot of feedback, and it's also very slow. So when it comes to handling, it's also a little soft, so it feels sloppy, it rolls around a bit. It's not a car that you would, that would dive into corners. You have to nurse it into corners. So when you come to a corner, you have to first load it up and deal with the roll. Otherwise, you just end up running wide, spinning the wheels, and people around you in the car, they're not going to like it. Even when it comes to quick direction changes, it just fails to handle it and it rolls. So if you are around a switchback, you have to take it slow and easy. It's good in a straight line at speed nonetheless. Undulations, lane changes, and the odd bumps here and there at these speeds is no hassle for the Hector Plus. But it's not an SUV I would look forward to driving in the hills enthusiastically. So if you like driving, then maybe you'd want to avoid the Hector Plus. Now we've already spoken about the diesel engine in the previous part of the film, but it makes it to the negative list because if you're looking to use the Hector Plus as an all-round car, use it in the city, use it on the highways, then the city bit just doesn't work really well with this diesel engine. And it starts with the noise levels. Now, I don't know if you can hear it, but it starts with a very, very clear, loud clatter, and maybe you can't hear it because of all the rain and the pitter-patter. And then when you start accelerating, again, it gets noisy, and the power band again is not very wide. So you find yourself, if you want to drive enthusiastically, you find yourself shifting. The gear shifts, like I said, are not very precise, not very light. So on the highways, it's not so much of a problem, but in stop and go traffic, it is a lot of effort. Same with the clutch, it's constant pushing and pushing out with the springy effect. Heavy spring makes it a lot of effort, and it might be efficient, but overall, if you are looking to buy the Hector Plus for city use, I'd say that the diesel may not be the right option, given its character in general. Now the Hector Plus isn't for those who really like driving. It could also do with a more modern, more refined diesel engine, and it could do with, at least the diesel one, could do with a lighter clutch and better gear shifts. And these last two seats that you see here, well, they're best used in an emergency or for a dog, like we said. So, is that reason enough for you not to buy the Hector Plus? Well, no, not really, because the pros on this car really outweigh the cons. And those pros are, it's comfortable, it's feature loaded, it's easy to drive, it's easy to live with. And then when you consider that whole shield package that MG gives, where they are buying back the car and you pay a little more and you get all your maintenance sorted, well, that's reason enough for you to buy it. And if you do choose to buy one and you're going to spend most of the time living in the city, we recommend you buy the automatic petrol. Now, the automatic petrol might not ride as well as the diesel, but then it's much easier to live with.